right, so we got Mike Ryan joining us here. We just wrapped up the LeBatard Show a few minutes ago, and I wanted to make sure that we got plenty of Hurricanes talk on the show today. Mike, I texted you yesterday morning. And you portrayed yourself all of last week as very confident that the Canes were going to get into the college football playoff. I was not remotely as confident as you were. And then Sunday morning comes around. I get on my flight from Atlanta, coming home from the SEC championship game to Miami. I text you, how you feeling? And you remember what you wrote me? You wrote bad.
Yeah, I didn't account for Alabama getting totally stomped that way. Thankfully, I guess for the University of Miami, there was a guardrail there with the committee inexplicably moving Alabama up after a lackluster performance against Auburn. But for the entire month, I've been fighting this head-to-head battle, and I was feeling really good. Saturday developed the way that I thought it would with Saban and Falika and Kirk Herbstreit.
And then BYU gets their shit kicked in.
Yeah, like everything was developing just the way that it needed to for Miami. But Alabama was so bad that I was worried that it had become this weird thing that they just established this year, which is, well, we can't have a side-by-side comparison with Miami and Notre Dame, therefore the head-to-head doesn't really matter, when I felt like Miami's playoff hopes hinged completely on head-to-head mattering. Thankfully, that's what ended up happening, but where I started getting really worried was I didn't account for Alabama kind of potentially getting dragged back into that muck inexplicably. They stayed after a dog shit performance.
Well, so the place that we were hoping for going into the weekend was that BYU would lose. They would lose handily. Miami would jump them, and it would force Miami and Notre Dame to be right next to each other. And then the committee has to do the head-to-head thing, and then Miami jumps Notre Dame. Now, that is exactly what ended up happening. But what the hell was the bullshit then a month ago where the committee is telling us that in order to be judged, they haven't even thought about judging Notre Dame and Miami head-to-head yet because they're not in the same tier. They're not in the same grouping. Was that just a lie?
If you're following what the committee said, and keep in mind they had a different spokesperson week one. The first rankings had Miami at 18. They had just lost to SMU.
But this Nudnik followed that same format.
And he said that Miami needs to show more consistency. I think even Mario Cristobal would tell you he understood why Miami was ranked below Notre Dame at that time. But once Miami started throwing some good games up, you would hear from the committee, and they said, all right, we need more consistency from Miami. We're starting to get there. What about head-to-head? Well, they're not in the same tier. There's this notion of pods that, okay, all right, fine. So you're waiting. So is
that bullshit?
So you're waiting week after week. Eventually, Miami does get in the pod, and Hunter Yurachek, the spokesperson, says they're in the same pod. It doesn't matter. And you're like, wait, what? It's listed on your criteria. And if you watch the show, I know you were in Miami International Airport, I was like, what a weird thing to do. Flash the criteria that you're about to ignore yet again, because Miami has the argument on common opponents against Alabama if they were in that cluster and head-to-head against Notre Dame. But thankfully, they did the right thing. I'm surprised Alabama stayed totally static because I would have thought...
I don't have a problem with it.
I get it, but if you're going off of precedent, it's a huge outlier. For them to be the one team that doesn't move after losing a conference title game in the history of this.
Well, Alabama's always had preferential treatment. We go back to previous years.
And they've benefited from teams losing their conference title game and them taking the spot. And I think in at least one instance, they ended up winning a national title.
I mean, Alabama's been in the top four in the college football playoff when it was just four teams without winning the SEC. Mm-hmm. You know, they've always gotten that preferential treatment. I don't have an issue with it, but let me ask you, first of all, what was your setup like yesterday when you were watching it?
I was playing soccer. I needed to get some of that anxiety and nervous energy.
So you weren't watching it live?
No, I did. I was playing soccer, and I made sure, like, guys, I have a hard out at noon. I knew that they were going to do the unveiling at around, like, 12:20. So I don't live too far away from my soccer field. I went in drenched in sweat. I was watching it on my phone. As soon as I got home, I had it already playing on my TV, so I didn't miss a second of it. And I was just nervous as all hell. It was just me by myself in my house.
I was very nervous, and I don't even care that much.
Yeah, I got a lot on the line. There's a lot on the line over the last, it's 4 years of work, and it's something this subjective. And it's the difference between being validated and being crestfallen is that graphic. It's that measurement that they use to decide between Miami and Notre Dame this year, I've invested a lot over the last 4 years, and not just money, but time, effort, stress.
So what did you do? Did you scream? Did you run around the house? What did you do?
I let out a big guttural hell yeah. Like, I was so relieved. But it wasn't so much elation as it was relief because, like I said, that's been a lot of sacrifice.
You were very scared.
I was nervous. I was nervous, no doubt. When Alabama flashed up at number 9, I was starting to feel a little bit better because I'm like, all right, this is the battle that we've been fighting.
Yep.
It has to matter. It just has to. You cannot. It's competitive sport. They're close enough in every conceivable metric. You have the easiest tiebreaker and the easiest cop-out if you're the committee. The easiest one. Miami beat them. Everybody, including Notre Dame, to their credit, when they're coming out and complaining, yeah, they don't like how the ACC framed this or that, very few of them, outside of the unhinged aggregate accounts, have ever argued that they feel good about being ranked ahead of Miami. They knew that they were getting one over on Miami, and I think they can all understand why Miami is over them. But if I'm a Notre Dame fan, I'm upset at leadership for not fighting this fight against Oklahoma and Alabama.
The weeks leading up to yesterday, if Miami had been ranked 10 and Notre Dame had been ranked 11, would anyone have been complaining?
No, and I do think that there are criticisms that are warranted of the CFP. Believe me, I haven't liked it. Notre Dame's feeling bad now. Notre Dame's feeling job now.
They feel bad now because they were lied to, not because they deserve to be in and somehow got screwed. They were lied to.
I'm sure this feels pretty bad. You're not gonna find this pacifying if you're a Notre Dame person. I've been in hell for a month because that's unjust. Winning a game against a team that you're essentially tied with and being told that that's not good enough. That goes against right. That's a difference between right and wrong. I've been gaslit for a month. I've been watching games wondering how it affects Miami and our college football playoff for a month while they've just casually skated by, not having any of that stress. And I know it feels terrible now, but I've been in here for a month, and I'm not going to apologize for being the person that ends up winning the day because we're on the right side.
Now, is there extra pressure on the Canes now to not just put up a good performance, but to even as an underdog? I mean, they're on the road. They're not favored in the game. They're the 10. They're playing the 7. Is there now extra pressure for them to win that game to justify that they got in?
We know how it goes with the internet after a team doesn't perform well in those games. Everybody from about 5 fan bases. You'll hear from Vanderbilt. You'll hear from Texas.
First round games were all blowouts last year, right?
You'll hear from there wasn't a good one in the bunch, and now it turned on in the semifinals or in the quarterfinals. Arizona State Texas was like the first time.
An all-time game.
Yeah, that was the first time we got a good game in this thing. But we've seen the discourse around teams that get blown out. It's always like, man, they put the wrong team in there. Bama would have beaten them. And then everybody forgets that Bama loses to Michigan. You'll get all of that stuff. So you wanna play well. I want to play well. Look, I can't lie to you, Zaz. There is a great deal of happy to be here energy from me right now because this felt like an achievement.
Well, it is an achievement. Canes have never won an ACC championship. They've never made the playoffs, and they're in now. And back-to-back 10-win seasons.
This is the best moment in Miami history in 20 years.
Yeah.
And I did want to celebrate it a little bit more before you put game face on and you want to be Texas A&M. Thankfully, Texas A&M is saying all the wrong things about our best players, so I'll get charged up for that. It's a great atmosphere. It's probably, I've been a lot of places. In terms of road atmospheres, that's as privileged as I've ever been to witness a game. That you feel all 100,000 people.
Will the Canes fan travel?
Yeah, we travel pretty well. And there have been a lot of people that have been waiting for this day, keeping their powder dry, keeping money saved up, hoping against hope that Miami would find themselves in this game. If you've never experienced College Station, everybody there is super nice. It's a great place to go if you're a road team. And the atmosphere is on par with anything that the sport has to offer. So I'm excited about the game. I think Miami matches up well. It's going to be violent. These are 2 line of scrimmage teams. Mike Elko is a tremendous coach. Miami has gone up against his defenses in the past, have had varying levels of success, I would say. I'm excited about it. I think Miami's playing really hot. I think our quarterback looks extremely good over the last month. I'm happy that we get bye weeks now, and you get second life. Now it's about something bigger because I truly believe there isn't a big-time talent discrepancy between these teams. If Miami comes out and executes, there's probably going to be an early punch. If they take it on the chin, they'll grow into this game, and they'll win it.
Do you care that it's a noon start? Does that matter?
No.
They got the first slot of the 3 games.
Yeah, I think that's because the other games. Keep in mind,
games are not on ABC. Those
no,
are TNT
TNT
games.
because keep in mind the NFL starts having their Saturday slates around that time. So the noon start on that Saturday is actually the serious window. That's
the most viewers.
Yeah, that's the one where the sport takes it seriously. Yeah. So I'm happy with that. And if you're looking from a competitive advantage, the one game that I went there where Miami played, it was a night game, and that was pretty electric, even though I think Texas A&M was coming off a loss to Appalachian State, and Miami was not playing well either, wasn't looking good, and Tyler Van Dyke was lining up under center. But if you're looking for an advantage, it's an 11 a.m. Central Time start locally. It should be like around 40 degrees too. I haven't seen Miami play in Pittsburgh. Miami's a team that's kind of built for that. So
the one of the reasons that I ask if the Miami fan is going to travel for the game this weekend, because this is
it's next weekend.
I'm sorry, I mean the first weekend. Mm-hmm. But this is an experience that the Canes fans never had, because since you have the 12-team college football playoff, you wonder. I remember there were, was it Penn State? There were games last year that were not sold out for the home teams for their first ever college football playoff game in a home stadium, because it's not just you're going to one game. No, like if the Canes fan wants to get to the national championship, are you going to travel for 3 games? And then luckily, the national championship would actually be your home. Otherwise, you're traveling for 4 games. You know, so not everybody can afford to travel for 4 games.
It's a tough thing to plan for. If you make a deep run, you have to mobilize quickly. That's thankfully I'm a Golden Cane, so I reach out to there's an allotment for people that are this type of tier supporter. So you essentially get an email, and the team tells you that if you want tickets, this is what it'll cost. This is the supporter allotment. So it's not too hard for me to get tickets to these games, but if you've been saving your money, it's hard. This is happening around the holidays too. If Miami makes a deeper run, are you prepared to take your family to Dallas? It's not fun, but it's a good problem to have, I guess. I've been begging for these problems. I'm not going to complain about how am I going to mobilize for a trip to Dallas in a week. I'll figure it out.
Mike, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yesterday, I was very excited when I yelped in the middle of the airport when the Canes graphic came on the screen. It was very dramatic. I was very into it.
It's a weird sport. I've had people like reaching out saying congratulations. I'm like, I'm not playing, but I do.
No, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. There's a lot of effort and energy that went into this from a lot of people. It's not like pro sports, that this is grassroots fundraising. Right. This is giving up money that hurts. This is giving up time that hurts. And I'm happy that we have at least this college football appearance to hang our hat on, because it is validating to a degree.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you, Zaz.